guys, welcome back. This is Two Girls Chirping. I'm Lauren.
I'm Abby.
And this is episode 4? 4, I believe.
I think so.
Who are we talking about today?
We're talking about the Penguins.
Wait, I wanna interject really quick.
Okay.
So I watched the Devils and Islanders game. You know, because you were with me. And I was like, hey, if I've already seen both teams and gotten my recap on it, then I've got the green flag to watch it. Tell me why Nico is the backbone of that team.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a bigger Devils fan than Islanders fan because when they lost, I was devastated a little bit. They gave me hope. We lost. We lived to fight another day.
Yeah.
It was very exciting though. I was watching them just glide around and I was like, how are you doing this?
I don't know how they do it.
Even when they would fall down, which made me feel really good.
They get up so quick.
I was like, how? I went rollerblading one time in middle school and I fell over, whatever. I literally had to crawl off the floor because I couldn't stand up. And these people are just like...
They're not even phased when they fall.
It was beautiful to watch.
It is wild.
It was beautiful. That's all.
Okay.
All right, let's dive in. Let's learn more.
I'm going to tilt this real quick. No, I'm not.
My coffee of the day is 7 Brew. Sweet and salty, just like me. Sugar-free and oat milk because we do not process dairy in this temple.
No. No. My drink of the day is peppermint tea, if anybody's wondering.
Ooh, she's on a fitness
Hellness.
journey. Hellness.
That Devils Detroit game, I was on a hellness journey.
Yeah, there's a lot of screaming. I've been hearing about it for 2 or 3 days now.
I think
I saw you posted a TikTok about it.
Mm-hmm. The Hurricanes are still definitely my number one team, but watching that game, I realized how much I want the Devils to win, and I was in an ill mood. It was the first thought that I had when I woke up the next day was the fact that Dylan got punished for being boarded. I'm still pissed. It's fine. It's fine. We need to focus up.
Mistakes were made, but that's okay.
It's not okay.
Hopefully they'll win someday. Okay, let's go.
Okay, today we're talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Washington Capitals, and the Philadelphia Flyers.
Subpar names all around.
But for the Penguins, we're going to start there.
Okay.
Their F1 equivalent I put as Mercedes.
Ooh.
I said they have such a rich history. They've faced financial problems on a few occasions, but overall just have a history of greatness.
Okay.
They make the playoffs quite frequently, and I put that they're either a feast or a famine team.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were founded in 1967 by Jack McGregor.
Okay.
King.
Sure. Yeah, King.
Their current owner is Fenway Sports Group with a minority owner of Mario Lemieux, who we're going to talk very in-depth about. I love that man.
Oh, it's a person?
Yeah.
I thought it was a business.
No, it's a person. I feel like also I should say my friend's boyfriend is a Penguins fan. And when I found that out, I asked if he was okay. And I was like, they haven't been great in the past couple seasons. We'll talk about it. But the more research I did into this team, the more I was like, yeah, I love this team. Mm-hmm. I get it. They've won 5 Stanley Cups.
Dang.
From 1991, or the 1990 to 91 season, the 92 season, 09, 16, and 17.
Yeah, okay.
They've won 6 conference championships.
All right.
And 9 division championships.
So they're winners. Got it.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah. It's definitely giving Mercedes.
You've heard the name Sidney Crosby, right?
Oh my God, yes.
This is his team.
Oh my. Okay. All right. I'm sad.
Yeah. The NHL was looking to expand to 6 teams or 6 more teams. Mm-hmm. And Jack McGregor, who is the senator, or was, he's not anymore. He was the senator in Pittsburgh when all of this was happening. And Pittsburgh has a NFL team and a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to get the NHL team mostly because it was an industrial city. There's a lot of smog because of it, and they were trying to get rid of, they were called the Smoky City.
Yeah.
So they were trying to get rid of that name, and they figured a booming sports industry would do the trick.
I don't see that correlation, but
Yeah,
I'm just a commoner. I'm not a rich man who understands these things.
Yes, and the NHL has a board that kind of decides where teams are placed.
Okay.
Then
why isn't there one in Alabama?
So there's these two brothers, the Norris brothers. One of them owned the Blackhawks, and the other one owned the Red Wings, Chicago and Detroit. They had a big sway in this group. Jack McGregor had a friend of them.
Okay.
His name was Art Rooney. He was the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the NFL team there.
I heard of them.
He basically called the brothers up. Jack reached out and was like, hey, can you put in a good word?
Yeah, I'd love to put in a good word.
What would happen if you just called the Norris brothers up?
You know what? Let's find out.
They had a two-way call with the Norris brothers where
this is speakerphone,
where Art basically said, if you don't if you choose Buffalo over Pittsburgh, I will be personally embarrassed and disgraced. So you want to know what they did?
Put a team in Buffalo. This is my friend.
We don't want them in Buffalo. We want them in Pittsburgh.
Put a team in Pittsburgh. This is my friend.
As a matter of fact, I'll be disgraced.
We don't want him disgraced. We want him graced.
And they picked Pittsburgh. Okay, where the name the Penguins come from, there's a couple sources that say different things.
Okay.
One of which said, well, Pittsburgh, the team, kind of says that Jack's wife picked out the name because she liked the alliteration of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
We love some alliteration.
Yeah, period. Other people say that there was a contest that was held that picked out that name because the arena that they played at was called the Igloo.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that makes sense.
Either, it kind of goes back and forth. Believe what you want to believe.
Which came first, the igloo or the penguin?
Penguins don't actually live in igloos, though. Probably the penguin.
They just live outside?
Igloos are, like, structures built from ice by humans.
I know. In my head, I knew that. But, like, where are the penguins living? Pittsburgh, apparently.
Well... They did have a live penguin, a mascot, called Pete the Penguin. And I'm only...
PETA? I need to make a complaint.
Oh, just wait. I'm going to briefly cover this. The penguin got pneumonia.
Oh, my God. PETA? I need to make a complaint.
Yeah. When he did ultimately die from pneumonia. They stuffed him and put him on display.
Oh!
He was stolen, never to be seen again.
They killed that penguin.
Yeah, and when they were building the team, the NHL had an expansion draft, but the existing teams could like hold certain players, and so they held all their star players so that they still had a successful team.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh started out with minor league players that were promoted or kind of veteran players that were kind of out of their prime, but they still had potential. And they actually made the playoffs their first year.
Okay.
They made it all the way to the semis.
Ooh, okay.
But they lost. They were mainly led by this one guy, Michel Briere, who actually was runner-up for Rookie of the Year that season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed.
From what?
He got in a car accident and was in...
How?
I don't know. It didn't explain, but he was in a coma for 11 months before he ultimately passed.
Yeah, these car wrecks are getting out of control.
There was another guy. This team has so much lore behind it. There's another guy, Pierre LaRouche, who was 18 when he came to Pittsburgh. And these girls thirsted after that man. They did a kissing booth with him, and he talks about how he kissed like thousands of girls.
Ew.
Yeah. They
that's
also
so icky.
They also ran a promotion where someone could win a date with him.
Oh no.
After having like mediocre seasons, they did file for bankruptcy the first time in 1975.
You said the first time? Mm-hmm. Okay.
They had made it to the playoffs in in 1970 and in 72. Mm-hmm. They lost 3-0 to the Islanders. They lost 3 games in a row.
The Islanders beating everyone.
Yeah. Immediately after they lost that round of playoffs, the IRS claimed that they owed the government over $500,000. This was the 70s too.
They didn't do enough kissing boots. Not enough dates.
They owed them from not withholding taxes collected from employers in the previous season, which is a big no-no. You can't mess up with your taxes. Congrats, you're on the IRS's list forever. I actually looked deep into it all, but that's just because I'm an accountant. That's what I do. They padlocked the doors to the arena, and it was completely shut.
Who, the IRS did?
Yep, because they seized all their assets. It's what happens when you
I'm not
cheat out the
familiar
IRS.
with what happens when you piss off the IRS.
And they were eventually bought out. Baz Bastian.
What a name.
What a name. He became general manager at this time. And he was kind of known for trading prime draft picks for players past their prime. And he did so for years. And the team struggled from 1975 to 1984, except for 82, where they actually made the Stanley Cup Finals. But that was the last time that they would make the Stanley Cup Finals until 1989, having the league's...
The year Taylor was born. A good year indeed.
They had the league's worst records for both 83 and 84.
That's payback for the Penguin. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't have any sympathy for you there.
After the bankruptcy and just bad seasons, the team was going to have to move, or something was going to have to happen dramatically to bring people in, because fans weren't going, because they weren't good. No one wants to go see a team lose.
No, I already did that earlier this week. It was not brutal. Fun.
Luckily, the 1984 draft happened, and they drafted the one and only Mario Lemieux.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, Mario.
From Montreal. He was from French Canada. He could do ads for both French and English.
Ooh.
So he got kind of both different groups.
He was bringing in the dollars.
Yeah, he was bringing in the money for advertisement. He was very much hyped up leading into it. They kind of knew they weren't going to be good leading into the 84 draft. And at this time, it was still the lowest ranking team got the first pick. So people kind of think that they lost so bad purposely to be the last ranked team so that they could draft this guy. Okay. And actually later on, the head coach at that time did confirm that they did purposely lose multiple times.
They got a little Red Bull in them.
Yeah, they do. But, I mean, they brought up new players and players from the minor leagues to, quote, see what they were capable of, but they were garbage. Like, people knew that they weren't going to be good. And coincidentally, they ended up being the last ranked team, so they got the first overall pick. When he was asked how he felt about going to the lowest ranked team, he was very open to the challenge. And I saw an interview of him saying, like, oh, yeah, it's easy to go to the Rangers and the Islanders and all these great successful teams and win and have a successful career, but you can go to these smaller teams and build something. And that really set the tone for his whole career, because he did build something out of that team. Lots of people actually compared him to Wayne Gretzky at the time.
Okay.
And he took it and ran with it. And so Wayne Gretzky was 99.
Years old?
No, his number was 99.
Okay.
Mario was 66.
Oh.
Yeah. He embraced the comparison and said he wanted to do that and also set himself apart. Either way.
He did the thing. He ate. He left no crumbs.
He ate. He went back for seconds, took leftovers home.
He said, they call me the part 2.
He was very talented. And he was 6'4", which at this time, most competitive players, most of the super talented players were 5'10". A lot of players say that they were intimidated to play against him because he would just embarrass you with how talented he was. It didn't matter. He would score regardless. And he lived up to the hype. He was great, but the team surrounding him was not. You can't have one great player and a team succeed. You have to have people that are going to help him out. They still went on for 4 years without going to the playoffs.
Okay.
In 89, though, they finally made it to the playoffs. They went on to completely upset the Rangers in
Ha.
round 1.
Screw them.
But in round 2, they lost in 7 to the Flyers. One of the games that they won against the Flyers in that series was the first time that they had beat the Flyers in a game in 15 years.
Go Penguins.
Yeah. They ended a 6-year playoff drought with that. Even though they lost in the second round, there was still like okay, this team can do it.
Yeah.
And it really kind of enforced that they're going to stay in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Lemieux had back problems for a while, and he missed 27 games one season.
Yikes.
It then developed into a herniated disc, which led to an infection. He had to have a back surgery.
Okay.
And missed 50 games and didn't return until the end of the 1990-91 season.
Yikes.
To which he actually came back.
Props, honestly.
And helped the team win their very first Stanley Cup.
Hey, his back was just worn out from carrying the team. He needed a break.
Yeah, he won the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Well deserved, I fear.
That offseason in the 1990 draft, they draft Jaromir Jagr. He was a great superstar player. Even he went to other teams after Pittsburgh, but he was consistently good. Him and Mario worked really well together, and they kind of became the number one line of that team. In 1993,
there it is.
Lemieux was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma.
No, Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Hodgkin's
lymphoma.
This is your area, not mine.
I did make an A on that test.
Yes, you did.
So, like, I do know a thing or two.
Yes.
That sucks.
He went through 6 weeks of radiation.
Ugh.
And on his last day of radiation, he was so eager to get back that he did his treatment and got on a plane and flew to Philadelphia where they were playing the Flyers and played.
No, babe.
He received a standing ovation by the Flyers fans, which that's kind of their biggest rivalry because they're in the same state. But he received a standing ovation when he came on the ice.
I feel we should have taken a little bit before we did that. I feel whoever hyped him up for that, no.
The thing is, too, his flight kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And so he chartered a jet.
Oh,
he
my
got
God.
a private jet so that he could make it there. And I'm like, at some point, you gotta come.
Should we be listening to the signs?
Yeah, but that's just who he was. He just wanted to play. He wanted to be there for his team.
Sure, you're a hockey player. You want to play.
They ended up losing that game, but it was still like kind of
It's still a win.
It's still a win. Just a quick thing, real quick. Their coach at that time, Badger Bob Johnson. Badger's his nickname.
Okay.
He was an extremely positive guy and a very like personable.
We love
coach.
words of affirmation.
Yeah. And he was known for his quote. He used to always say, "It's a great day to play hockey." Or
McDreamy stole that. He said it's a beautiful day to save lives. He stole that.
Yeah, it's a great day for hockey. And he passed after developing a brain tumor, but that's still the mantra for that team. They have it up in like lettering on the side.
It is a good day to play hockey.
It's a great day to play hockey. I love it.
That's so freaking cute.
Yeah. Here's the second time they had to file for bankruptcy, though. The team had previously had ownership of the arena that they were in. Okay. But at some point, it got sold to a third party, I think, when they were trying to make some more money off of it. Unfortunately, they were making less money off of that deal. They just were in financial ruins. They had $62 million of debts. And so in 1999, they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Mario Lemieux, they owed him $30 million alone. Over $30 million. I want to say it was like 32. But he loved this team so much. The team was still playing well. It was kind of just the behind the scenes, mainly the not owning the arena, that really did them in. And yeah, when it got to the point that they couldn't pay the players' salaries is when they sold it. The potential buyers wanted to either shut down the team completely or move it. So Mario convinced a group of people, bought the team, and saved the Penguins.
Okay.
He paid back every person that was owed money down to the penny, which normally in bankruptcy settlements, you get 10%-ish of what you are owed. He paid back every single person down to the janitor.
I love this man.
I love this man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that man.
Yeah, he still has a minor stake in the team now.
I mean, yeah.
And they ride at dawn for that man. And quite frankly, I think I would.
I won't ride at dawn for anyone except you.
Yeah.
And our fur babies. But I will ride at 9 a.m. for that man.
Yeah. They did
I'm still not going to support them, though, because of the penguin.
Just out of loyalty to Pete the Penguin. That happened in 99. From then to 2004, they still were mediocre. In 2000, actually, Mario Lemieux has a comeback.
No, he doesn't.
Comes out of retirement.
Okay.
In 2000 to play for the Penguins. His number had been retired. First of all, when he retired, normally there's a 3-year grace period before somebody can be inducted into the Hall of Fame. They inducted him immediately, the NHL Post haste. His number had been retired by the team and like hung in the rafters. Mm-hmm. When he came back, he was like, "Take that down. I don't want to play with that over my head.
Give me my jersey."
He said, "Actually,
don't even worry about washing it.
I want backsies."
Mm-hmm. Give it to me. Give it to me now.
Yeah, the banner was taken down and put away for storage until he retired again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shoot, that's so cute. Okay.
Mm-hmm. In 2024 to 2025, which is the NHL lockout, they basically is because of labor issues. They couldn't come to a conclusion on, but the 2020 or 2004-2005 season didn't happen.
That's crazy. Isn't it baseball that did that too not too long ago?
Uh-huh. It was at the same time as the baseball lockout.
Together.
And in 2005, they got the number 1 draft pick, and they drafted Sidney Crosby, otherwise known as Sid the Kid. He actually moved in with the Lemieux family and lived with them for the first 5 years of his career.
Wow. I love that.
Prior to them drafting him, he had trained with Mario in the offseason. One thing about Sidney Crosby, though, the man is superstitious.
Same.
Most hockey players are superstitious. It's actually insane how crazy they are about it. But Sidney Crosby's number is 87.
Yeah.
He has only ever had $8.7 million contracts. Still, to
That's
this
so
day.
Cute.
To this day. Everybody called him a once-in-a-generation player, which is what they had called Mario. And so it was like a once-in-a-generational player drafting another once-in-a-generational player, because Mario didn't give up his ownership to the team while he came back and played. Okay.
Mario's a Libra, and that's why he's so fantastic. And that's why he's so loyal. It makes sense. October 5th. I'm pretty sure that makes you a Libra. Wow.
I have no idea.
He's only 59 now. Dang.
Yeah, he still looks very handsome.
He looks amazing. That's what happens when you're a good person. You age well.
You age very well when you're good and you're rich.
Yeah, that the money helps, so I hear. Correct.
The 2005 to 2006 season started off not great. They lost the first 9 games of the season and finished actually with their worst record. The head coach was fired and replaced. The general manager was let go it was the end of his contract, so they didn't renew his contract. He was replaced. And Lemieux actually retired that season. Again. Final time retiring. He had developed...
so far.
Yeah.
He can still go back. He looks good for 59.
He's only 59.
He's only 59 and he's a Libra.
Yeah. He developed an irregular heartbeat.
It happens.
So he retired. And in 2006... Okay, so back in 2004, they drafted this Russian guy, Malkin. He actually had to spend an extra year in Russia because he was playing in a major league team there, and between contract issues, they couldn't buy him out. They were being very weird.
Wow, that's so crazy. Russia not wanting to play along with the U.S. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of that before.
He actually did get to play in the 2006-07 season, and he was injured when he came over, and he missed the first 4 games. Okay. But despite that, he still won Rookie of the Year that year.
Sure.
And they finished 5th in the Eastern Conference and had the franchise's first 100-point season.
Ooh.
Which was 47 points higher than the previous season. So between him and Sidney Crosby, they They were
It
great.
was the beginning of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, him, Sidney Crosby, and Yager. And then in the 07-08 season, they made the Stanley Cup Finals.
Cool.
Yeah, they lost to Detroit. Honestly, screw Detroit. They're pissing me off. They're pissing me off these days. I'll be fine, though. I'll get over it.
Okay.
And one of their players, Marian Hossa,
Cute.
didn't re-sign with them after that season. And he actually went to Detroit, the Red Wings, and said in the press it gave him a better chance to win the Stanley Cup. Well, guess what? The following season, skip to the Stanley Cup Finals. It's Detroit versus the Penguins. The Penguins win their Stanley Cup.
That's what I like to see.
Yeah. And they actually moved to a new arena in 2010. This is where they're good. They're consistently in the playoffs since Sidney Crosby was drafted in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
They made the playoffs every single year.
Dang.
Up until last season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Something that I love is they will hand deliver tickets, like personally deliver season tickets to some of their fans.
That's so cute.
Imagine
like the players?
Yes. Like Sidney Crosby will come to your front door sometime. Not all of them, but some of them. Can you imagine opening your door and it's Sidney Crosby?
No. That'd be amazing.
Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team I couldn't really find an F1 equivalent for. You're going to have to tell me afterwards.
Okay.
They have won one Stanley Cup.
Okay.
In 2018. It was the most magical thing I've seen, actually. I've got a video that I have to show you. They've only ever made the Stanley Cup Finals twice.
Mm-hmm.
But they've won the one. They've won 2 conference championships in 98 and in 2018. But they've won 13 division championships.
Okay, so we're fine mid-level.
Specifically, I want to point out they won from 2008 to 2011.
Okay.
And then again won from 2015 to 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
Every single year.
Yeah, we've had a little streak or two.
So they're good. They don't have as many titles necessarily, but they are consistently good. They were founded in 1974.
Okay.
At the same time that the Kansas City Scouts were formed.
The Devils.
Yes. Both teams struggled pretty bad to begin with. They struggled for the first 18 years. 8 years. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. Less dramatic.
They finished their first season 8-64-5. So 8 wins, 64 losses, 5 overtimes. They had half as many points as the Scouts did that season, which the Scouts were bad. They were worse. They were double as bad. They lost 39 of their 40 road games.
Okay.
That continued.
I'm not laughing. Who's laughing?
Their head coach, Jim Anderson, said, this is a direct quote, might I add, "I'd rather find out my wife was cheating on me than to keep losing like this." He was replaced mid-season.
Who? Is he still with his wife?
I have no idea.
Dang.
They finished their second season with just 11 wins and 59 losses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrible still.
And pretty much for the rest of the 70s, they had terrible seasons. From the 70s to the 80s, they were either god-awful or just barely didn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
There was no in-between, and there was no playoffs.
All right.
In 82, they traded some longtime players, Ryan Walter and Rick Green. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, they still, even though they were a backbone, they were still terrible. But
the whole team's terrible.
They were forwards. They needed more defensemen. So they traded them for defenseman Rod Langway from the Montreal Canadiens. He was named captain just a couple weeks later. And their draft pick in 1982 was Scott Stevens, another defenseman. Between the two of them, they dramatically decreased the number of goals scored against them.
You know what? What do I know anyways? What do I know anyways?
Yeah. It allowed their forwards and their major goal scorers to have the room to score goals. So
I never doubted the plan.
That season,
I'm not a hater.
the 82-83 season, they finished third in their division.
Okay.
And they made the playoffs for the very first time.
Wow.
They were eliminated by the 3-time champion, the Islanders. But They still made the playoffs.
We still went.
Yeah.
We still did the dang thing.
For the first time since the founding of our team. From 83 to 96, they made the playoffs 14 consecutive times.
Okay.
Which is a pop off. They were knocked out pretty early on, either in the first or second round, but it's still impressive.
Doesn't matter. It's participation in my head.
Yeah. They also kind of became known as having very slow starts.
Okay.
And then just bang, bang, bang towards the end of the season come January.
I can't snap that hard.
They also, do you remember the Easter epic that I talked about with the Islanders?
Yeah.
They were the other team involved in that.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not remember that.
After missing the playoffs for the first time in 14 years in 1997, they went all the way to the finals the following year.
Wow.
They did lose to the Red Wings. In their following season, their record fell very short. They failed to make the playoffs again, and the team was sold.
Okay.
Yeah. They won back-to-back division titles.
Okay.
For 2000 and 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, Adam Oates, who was their team captain, quote, demanded a trade.
Ooh.
But he was still under contract.
Okay,
and the
boy.
team refused it and stripped him of his captaincy.
We were not playing nicely. We were not getting along.
No, they were not. In 2001, though, they did manage to trade for Yager from the Penguins. And they signed him to the largest contract in NHL history at that time.
Where'd they get that money from?
Bro, I don't know. For $77 million over 7 years.
Okay.
At that point that they signed him, Oates was traded. Finally.
Bye.
So he's probably like, goodbye. They failed to defend their title in 2002, but they still had the highest attendance in franchise history.
Oh.
And they signed during that season Robert Lang, who is one of Yager's line mates from Pittsburgh.
So we're just stealing the Pittsburgh team?
Essentially.
Do you want money? Come on over.
Come on over
to the Washington Capitals.
And they entered a rebuilding era. After Lang and Yager didn't live up to their expectations,
okay,
both of those players were traded, sent to other teams. Yager was sent to the Rangers and Lang was sent to the Red Wings.
I cannot stop hearing these two team names.
I know, they're freaking everywhere. I can't.
I thought they were behind me. Are you there? Get away from me.
They finished that season with the second worst record.
It's like they just suck overall.
This is where they either
it's giving Haas.
Well, they either have incredible seasons or they just are breaking the records for how bad they can be. There is literally no in between.
Then it's not giving Haas. Haas just sucks overall. It doesn't sound like we're doing much time on top of the world. It sounds like we're like sunbathing in the pits of hell for most of the season.
98, they made the finals. 2000 and 01, they won back-to-back titles. In 02, they sucked. They entered a rebuilding era. They sucked. Oh, they won the draft lottery. Lottery.
Where are you from?
But they did win the draft. The draft.
They won the draft lottery.
It's like wafting.
Can you smell the number 1 draft pick?
I can. Is it Alexander Ovechkin? Yes.
I don't know who that is, but maybe.
I put 2004 draft. Alexander Ovechkin. All caps. I love this man.
Okay.
On paper, they lost 41 games. But every single one of those games, they were in it. They weren't getting blown out. They were setting records, just not getting wins, which is
weird.
But that season, regardless of their records, Ovechkin beat out Sidney Crosby for Rookie of the Year. So, like, it's very weird because on paper, they lost 41 games, but they were still good.
But they did it with class.
They weren't getting blown out. It's just, it's a weird moment, right? And in 2008, actually, Ovechkin won the Art Ross Trophy, which meant he led the entire league in points.
Oh, shoot.
He won the Maurice Rocket Richards Trophy, which was the leading goal scorer of the league.
Okay.
The Hart Memorial Trophy, for
Okay.
MVP, and the Lester B. Pearson's trophy, which is awarded by the NHL committee for the most outstanding player.
So, like,
They didn't
does
even.
the team suck, or is he just really good?
He's really good.
Because it sounds like he's really good, but the
He's-
team is still sucking it up.
He's good. The team is good. They just can't win. They actually
like,
didn't
Aston
even
Martin?
make the play. I'm thinking of Aston Martin, but specifically Fernando Alonso.
King shit.
King shit. That's what I thought. So I'm going to say their Formula One equivalent is Aston Martin.
Okay, yeah, I'll accept that. Because they've
Strictly-
either got like highs or lows.
Yeah.
They've got a couple superstars.
Because they didn't even make the playoffs this season that Ovechkin won all of those trophies.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how good of a standout player he was.
Yeah, Fernando Alonso.
Period. In 2009, they made the playoffs for the first time since forever. And in the 2010 season, they won their very first President's Trophy, which is the most points of a team in regular season.
How are they doing all of this?
This is the
while
like,
still having a bad record.
it's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually won the President's Trophy in 2010, 2016, and 2017. All not great years.
I can't offer.
It's crazy to
explanations.
me. In 2017, they did go to the playoffs. Afterwards, though, they lost like 5 key players that went into free agency. And they had the 2017 expansion draft that same year from when other teams got added in, and they lost some key players in that as well.
Okay.
They were still able to make the playoffs, and in 2018, for the first time, or for the 10th time in 11 years, they went on to win the division title. Their social media team, though, does a great job. I'm obsessed with their social media team.
Is it run by Gen Z girlies?
It's gotta be.
Yes.
They did a Coke testing contest where they put like 4 different.
like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, it was fascinating. I love it.
Oh, please. I love some good socials. I don't necessarily care if you're the best. I care about who I connect with. So if your
Yes.
social media is not delivering, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to.
My Roman empire is the Gen Z girlies that run social media accounts for sports teams. I'm obsessed with it. Whoever runs the profile for the New Jersey Devils, you do a great job. Same thing for the Hurricanes. You deserve a raise, and you have my full support.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with it. It's so funny. The memes that they do when they win a game, I love
you
it.
showed me some of the New Jersey Devil ones, and they're funny.
I love
like it.
Um,
I like it. Keep up the good
There's my
work,
little
ladies or gentlemen.
yeah, it could be a guy too, I
Whoever.
guess, but I just assume it's a Gen
Keep
Z
up the
girl.
good work, Gen Zers.
Yes. They defeated the Penguins for the first time in 24 years in the playoffs.
Cool.
Which is kind of crazy.
That one was for Pete.
And they went to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 20 years and beat the number 1 seed in the division and won their very first Stanley Cup.
That's an underdog.
Yeah.
I
and
like
I love it.
I like it.
It was beautiful. 2019 or 2018 to
Let me guess,
2021.
they sucked after that.
They made the playoffs.
Little strokes of genius here and there.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. They lost in the first round. They didn't make the playoffs at all in 2023. And in December of 2023, it was announced that their owner had entered a non-binding partnership, which I don't know what that means. Don't ask me.
Okay.
That's just the terminology. He entered a partnership with the governor of Virginia, and they're going to move. They plan to move to Alexandria, Virginia by 2028.
You can't just move to Alabama.
That's what I'm saying. They have, oh my gosh, they have a sick jersey.
Ooh, okay.
Look at this jersey.
Oh, yeah.
I'll insert a
America.
picture.
USA.
I think it is beautiful.
Those are good colors.
They're great colors.
The Screaming Eagle. Get out of here.
One thing that they do have going for them, look,
Jerseys.
jerseys. Alex Ovechkin, Wayne Gretzky holds the highest number of career goals ever
Okay.
at 894.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It was a record that everybody was kind of like, This will never be broken.
Okay.
Ever.
It
But
will always be broken.
Right now.
As Sebastian Vettel said, records are meant to be broken.
Period.
Basically.
Yep. He actually has 855 right now.
Seb called it.
It's very possible that he could break that record. Okay. The last team we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia Flyers. The comparison that I have for them is Williams.
That's not good.
So Williams, historically, they were those bitches.
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time
Let
ago.
me tell you a story, children.
Yeah. I said once upon a time they were incredible and a force to be reckoned with, but it has been a long time since then, and they have been pretty irrelevant for a while.
Oof.
Yeah. They have experienced a lot of bad calls and unfortunate injuries.
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. They still have a lot of history, though, and a pretty big fan base that seems very supportive. It seems like a very healthy fan base and a good environment.
The Rangers could never.
I said I want to see them win it all, but I don't really expect it. I'd be thrilled if it did happen, though.
Okay.
The odds are low unless something crazy happens.
Right.
I just get good vibes from them. They were founded in 1967.
Mm-hmm.
It was their current coach, John Tortorella, he's a beautiful older man. He's also known to be very persistent. He became the coach in 2023.
He's a beautiful man?
Maybe not in that picture, but he's a beautiful older man. I think so.
Oh, yeah. He kind of gives the same vibes as, like, Mark Harmon.
They have won 2 Stanley Cups.
Okay.
In 74 and in 75. Back to back. They've won 8 conference championships and 16 division championships. Most notably from 85 to 97, they won all of those. Every single year.
Dang.
Yeah. I really like their mascot, and don't you worry, I have a picture for you. His name is Gritty.
What in the nightmare is that?
I think he's so cute.
I thought you were, like, terrified of mascots.
Oh, I am. If he was in the same
And
room,
you
I'd be
think
scared.
that thing is cute?
I think it's adorable.
Well, one woman's trash is another woman's treasure.
Fair enough.
That's terrifying.
They have a lot of beef with a lot of teams.
Okay.
Their number one rival is the Penguins. They
Okay.
also have rivalries with the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Bruins.
So the whole state and also surrounding states.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
Everybody in that area, really. Their first home game actually was against the Penguins. They won. They beat the Penguins
Ha.
with a shutout. Penguins couldn't even score. Late in their first season, a storm came through and blew off parts of their roof, and they had to play their last 7 home games on the road.
Okay.
But they still had a very good first season, very successful. That didn't transfer into their second or third seasons. They were competitive. They made it to the playoffs. They're 4 out of their first 5 seasons, but they lost in the first round.
We still went.
Yeah. It was kind of just like a, how are they doing that? It's giving the Capitals.
It's giving Capitals.
Yeah. But in 1971 is when they started to play very aggressively.
As long as it's clean.
And they earned the nickname the Broad Street Bullies because they've played on Broad Street their entire time. They've moved arenas, but it's still always been on Broad Street.
Okay.
They missed out on playoffs in 71. That was the last time for 18 years that they would do so. In 1973, they recorded their first winning season, which is the bare minimum.
We love it. Set
Yes.
the bar low.
And in the 73-74 season, they allowed the fewest goals in the league to be scored against them, along with
Nice.
Chicago.
Nice.
They started a tradition of Kate Smith, who I guess was a singer. I don't know anything
I don't
about
know
her.
Kate Smith.
But they would play a recording of her singing God Bless America at every home game, and it became a tradition because, you know, hockey players are freaking maniacs about their traditions. And honestly, it worked.
Same. I would be insane.
They won.
I'm superstitious as a normal person.
Yeah, they had an unreal record of winning when that song was played.
Thank you, Kate. We appreciate it.
And in 1974, they made the Stanley Cup Finals. And she came and sang that song in person before the game.
And did they win?
They won their very first Stanley Cup.
Let's go,
It's
Kate.
funny.
Give her royalties.
Yes. They went and won the Stanley Cup again the following year. So they have 2 back-to-back Stanley Cup wins. That was the end.
And that was the last of the good days.
Yes. People say that after those 2 wins, they became the most cursed team in hockey. Well,
that would be Johnny Hockey's team.
Let's see, because in 1980, a linesman admitted that he completely messed up a call that ultimately led to the Islanders beating the Flyers in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay.
He admitted afterwards. It was offsides. It was very obviously offsides for the game-winning goal, and everybody on ice stopped playing outside of 2 people. The Islanders scored, and they just left it. They won that game. They won the series.
What the?
Yeah.
What?
And afterwards, the linesman was like, yeah, I messed that up.
I would have burned that arena to the ground.
100%. They lost 6 straight Stanley Cup finals. Multiple franchise-defining stars were injured, and their careers have been ended off of it. By the mid-1990s, they were better than ever, but, oh my gosh, I keep losing my place in this.
We were better than ever.
They were good in the 1990s. They had a, quote, punch your face in and score 100 goals type of play. But again, they were the Broad Street Bullies. They built, in the 90s, their team around this one player, Eric Lindros.
Never heard of him. That doesn't mean anything.
That's because after the 1997 season, when they lost in the finals for the 5th time in 22 years as well, he was never able to play a full season again due to injuries, including at one time having a collapsed lung that almost killed him in 1999. He had 3 concussions in the 99-2000 season and retired as a result. In 2001, a longtime team broadcaster, Gene Hart, passed away.
Rip.
Days later, Dmitry Tershny, a defenseman of the team, passed away in a boating accident.
A boating accident?
A boating accident. Rod Brindamore, who had been drafted and played
Rod the Bod?
Rod the Bod!
Yeah, I know him.
He was traded to Carolina at that time, which we know how that went for him. Haha. And in February of that season, their head coach, Roger Nielsen, was diagnosed with bone cancer and retired.
Oh,
so
that's such a painful
that
cancer.
was a terrible season for them, obviously.
I still think the Blue Jackets are more cursed. Way more.
Okay, fair enough. In 2007, so there's this guy, Patrick Kane. I don't think we've talked about yet.
I don't know.
He played for Chicago for the longest time.
Chicago.
And he is an incredible player. He still plays. He plays for the Red Wings now.
We cannot keep their name out of our mouth.
I can't. I'm so sorry. And the Flyers were supposed to have the number 1 draft pick because
Because they sucked, yeah.
Traditionally, the lowest ranked team got the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
They were going to draft number 1, Patrick Kane. But because they didn't get that spot in the draft lottery, he actually went to Chicago.
Not only do you suck, which you may or may not have done intentionally, you don't even get a good draft pick. You get no benefits from sucking. Mm-hmm. Did they improve after that?
They did make the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010.
Yeah, because it doesn't benefit to lose.
Against Chicago.
Hey, Patrick.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
Yeah, it was the first time they advanced to the finals since 1997.
Okay.
They did lose, and they lost in a very weird way. The goal, they went into overtime. Mm-hmm. You know, they score a goal, the lights go off, the horn sounds.
It's a lot.
I
like it,
Well,
though.
Chicago scored the game-winning goal, no lights went off, nothing. All the fans were confused. Nobody knew what was going on, and then they were like, oh, the game's over.
No, it's not.
And they did that in Philadelphia. Chicago won it.
Yeah.
So it was also a very weird thing.
I want to hear the horn.
They had the guy on the team who was one of their best players at the time, Mike Richards.
Mm-hmm.
He was the closest loser in NHL history to the Selke Trophy. He only lost by 7 points. And this is where their bad luck continues. In 2011, their star defenseman, Chris Pronger, broke his right hand right before playoffs.
Yikes.
Yeah. And in the 2010s, they fumbled a lot. They couldn't compete. They won the second overall draft pick in 2017. They drafted Nolan Patrick, who was an incredible prospect, really good. However, he ended up having severe concussion problems and retired just 5 years after being drafted.
Golly.
They signed this guy, Carter Hart. He was kind of thought to be the future of the Flyers. He was a goaltender. However, in 2018, there was a scandal at the World Juniors involving sexual assault.
Okay.
And 8 players were involved in it.
Go to jail. Go to jail.
Yeah.
Go to jail.
It was one girl.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
5 players from Team Canada were affected by this, including him.
What do you mean affected?
They were involved in it.
You mean indicted?
Yep. 100%. And then,
How much, do we know how much money she got out of the settlement?
No, it's all pretty.
It's not enough.
They're all pretty tight-lipped about it all.
It's not enough.
It's not
they
enough.
were tight-lipped about it? How do you think it happened?
Yeah.
Disgusting behavior.
It was
disgusting.
ridiculous.
Overall.
I actually learned way more about it than I cared to.
Ugh.
In January of 2024, this year,
Yeah.
the team announced that he would be taking an indefinite leave for personal reasons. A week later, he was told to surrender to Ontario police, where he has been awaiting trial still.
Bye.
It has not taken place.
Bye.
It looks like it's going to take place next year.
I'll be tuned in.
I will be tuned in. So between 2019 and 2023, they only made the playoffs once, and they lost in the second round.
Okay.
They had terrible attendance.
Yeah.
Luckily, in 2023, they drafted Matvei Mishkov, 7th overall in the draft. He rivaled Connor Bedard. This was the same draft that Connor Bedard was in, and I've talked a bit about him to you. Mishkov was said to rival Connor Bedard's talent. The only reason he didn't go number 1 was because there were a bunch of questions about his contract. He had a long contract in Russia with a team there, and so that committed him for.
I think I've heard this before.
They committed him for years, and he ended up being able to get out of it. And he formally signed with the Flyers last year and made his debut.
Okay.
He's got 7 points so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
So far this season, though, they've won 1 game. At the time that we're recording this, at least. They have a lot of really young players.
Maybe they'll age into it well.
Yeah, hopefully. Do you have
It's a long season.
It's a long season, and they're Williams. Like, I don't really expect it of them, but if it were to happen, sounds great. Slay. Pop off.
Slay.
But that's all I have, which was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of information. I've actually fully decided that we're going to only talk about 2 teams moving forward a week.
Good.
Just because I think it's a lot of information otherwise.
While you pull up who we're going to talk about next week, do you want me to tell you where I'm at today?
Yeah.
I don't feel any particular way about any of them, except I feel a bad particular way about how they treated Pete the Penguin. I'm going to say where I'm at right now, my top 3 are probably the Devils, the Hurricanes, and the Islanders. The rest of them,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't really feel any particular way about them. Like, I'll watch them if they're on. I really like some of the background, like the Mario.
I like a lot of
And
players.
obviously Sidney Crosby of it all.
My friend Sophia, that is a hockey fan, she's been a hockey fan far longer than I ever have been, said too that she also kind of supports players, not necessarily teams. Like, she's got her team that I think she supports Tampa Bay, but
I don't know them.
Yeah, we haven't talked about them yet. We'll talk about them in a few weeks, but also they get traded around quite a bit, so I think it's easier. I think it is easier to have the players that you support. Like, from the Devils, I like the Devils. I want to see them succeed. I mainly support Nico Hischier out of that. I support, like, Timo Meier out of that. I support Dougie Hamilton anywhere and everywhere.
And the Hughes brothers, do not act like we don't support the Hughes brothers here.
I do support the Hughes brothers, but it's not necessarily the Devils organization. Like, if Nico Hischier went anywhere, I would support him there.
I don't know. I like the team vibe. The team vibe of the Devils, I like that.
Yeah. Now, the Hurricanes team, that is my team. But that's all for the Metropolitan Division. That's every team.
Good.
We're going to do a little recap on our TikTok, Two Girls Chirping, of you ranking the Metropolitan Division,
Okay.
where those teams lie. And I think we're going to do that at the end of each division.
I like it.
So
they're all right on top of each other, though, huh?
Yeah.
And a lot of room.
Next week, we're going to start the Atlantic Division.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, the Bruins. That's who...
Jeremy Swayman, that goaltender.
I was going to say that's the team that Dad said that he likes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Dad does like
Jeremy Swayman. Isn't he super expensive?
He is the goaltender, yes. He's probably the most popular goaltender right now.
Okay, perfect.
Do you have any questions?
I have no questions. I have no comments. I do have one concern about Pete the Penguin.
R.I.P., my dude.
You deserved so much better.
He did.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening. We hope to see you next week. And for now, that is a wrap on episode 4.
Yeah.
Two Girls Chirping.
Bye. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.